Having just released the exquisite new EP, Akimbo from Jack, I'm well happy to be speaking to Joe Mac and Dylan Court, aka Rafiki Dubs. How are we both?
Oh, yeah, good then. Yeah, good.
Good stuff, man. So yeah, we just want to talk to you today about the label, how you guys started, where you want to go, and how COVID's affected your process, and just little bits like that. Okay, so should we just jump straight in with how you guys started?
Yeah, so we originally started Nuusic as a kind of online page which we use as a platform to promote local music and art. And after doing that for a while and going to lots of events in Manchester, we kind of thought we'd have a stab at doing events as well. So it kind of evolved into that. I think we did, I'm not sure how many, probably about 10, 12 events before we decided we'd have a go at DJing as well. And yeah, I think there was a period where I think I decided I was going to be a student. Max, who used to run the events with, found out he was going to be a dad, and you decided you're going to get married. So I was all within like 2 weeks, and we realized I didn't have any money to do events anymore. So it kind of morphed into DJing. I think it's been a while after that, so we decided to do a label as well.
A couple of years after we stopped doing events, that's when the label started. Really, just like it's always been like different vehicles to kind of push artists, really get people out there.
Yeah, nice, man, nice. And so the first time I remember seeing Nuusic was I think the Sounds of Nuusic series. And do you want to just talk a little bit about the influences behind some of the releases that you guys have done, whether they be series or just like single EPs or anything like that?
It sounded music, really. I think that was just we just knew a lot of people.
Yeah, we were quite fortunate to know a lot of people that were producing around that time that we were close to, and some that we didn't know that well, but we'd come across online and we're talking to. So it was almost like a kind of natural coming together of a load of different people that all had some music lying around that we liked.
Nice.
And yeah, all seemed to work quite well.
This is a lot of people can't really commit to full EPs. They've not got time, but a lot of people, they've either got tunes that they haven't put out yet, or they've got like a week spare to put a tune together for you. So yeah, it's a good way of getting people that otherwise you wouldn't be able to get on the label, is to get them on the album.
And we had a wide range of people as well. There were people that might have been their first tune on a label, and I think did we have Aries and Fox on that as well?
Yes, Aries
and J-Man.
I think it's Kelvin. Kelvin.
I think you had Subcriminal on there as well. I remember.
Yeah, so it's quite a range of people in different stages in their production careers, but all kind of we were kind of the common denominator coming out of all the events that we ran and stuff. They're all people that we spoke to or booked or things like that.
Yeah, nice. So do you remember what you guys first like release was?
I think it was it Sound of Music? I
feel like it might have been.
I think that was the first release.
And there was a Margaman one quite around that time. It might have been after before.
I think it was volume 1.
Yeah, it probably was the album.
Wanted to start off with something big.
The progression since then has kind of just gone like through the roof, hasn't it? So do you want to talk a little bit about like some of the artists that you've managed to work with since then that maybe you might not have had, like, because obviously when you're starting up a new label it's difficult to get some of those like slightly bigger names. Are there any artists that you've managed to work with over time that maybe you might not have been able to get at the beginning?
I think from the start we've been fairly fortunate, like Joe was saying before, from running events. We built up kind of like a rapport with a lot of people that newer labels wouldn't really be able to get in touch with. Well, they would be able to get in touch with them, but they'd be less likely to want to put tunes to us. Just like he was saying, like getting Aries on your first release, that was huge for us, and that was through running events.
Yeah, I think we had him down to Manchester a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Rico Dan, that's been huge.
Yeah, also a lot of the people that we've worked with since, I don't think they could have legally got into the venues when we put our first release out. They're all quite young producers, which is good that we've caught them so early, just from finding their tunes online. And it's amazing how far along their kind of production journey they are at such a young age.
Yeah, I've noticed that in the last like few years, especially, that they do seem to be getting younger and more talented from a real young age. Have you guys noticed that as well?
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying my best to learn how to produce now. Yeah, both of us are.
Yeah.
I'm 30 this year.
Old dogs, new tricks. And all that.
I'm in the same boat, lads. Don't worry.
Yeah, like Elm. Yeah, the two young lads that we just signed to the label, Elm and Jack.
I think they're 19, are they?
Yeah, 19. I think Elm's 18.
Yeah.
It's
crazy,
isn't it?
For us, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
they've got such a high quality. It's not just the tunes are good, but the quality of production.
And also the influences kind of from things that are beyond their years as well. There's like a real kind of 90s jungle influence that they definitely couldn't physically have been around to witness themselves. So
yeah.
Deep for this kind of influence.
I had a quick listen to the Jack EP just before we came on. And yeah, you can tell that real like jungle flavor behind it, can't you? Like with that like you remember in that Conrad Subs release that you did, Jungle Mania, and there was that block party that had that like high wobbly sub bass at the end of each phrase. Where you can tell that it's got that kind of like influences. Is that the kind of flavor that you guys enjoy listening to away from like the label? Is that why you kind of push that sound a little bit?
I don't at home I don't really listen to much drum and bass. No, I listen to. I mean, I listen to everything. I will listen to drum and bass, but I like garage, reggae, a lot of reggae
as well.
Reggae and dancehall, yeah.
I think I meant more in terms of like for a sound system. If that's the kind of stuff that you enjoy listening to when you're out and about in raves and things like that.
Definitely.
Nothing compares.
Yeah. Richter scale bass for a kind of sound system bigger than your house is always preferable.
Always fun, isn't
it? So that kind of subby jungle is probably like what we kind of like to listen to most when we're out. Yeah, I'd say
easily.
And so, do you think that was a conscious choice for you guys to choose to release that then, or was it just kind of that seems to be what people seem to be making, and it was just kind of, or do you think it was like a merger of both points there?
I think it was more to do with our style, because we had a very like easy to define style when we were putting on events. It had ragga influences, and we'd sometimes open with a reggae and a dubstep artist, or like 140s or whatever you want to call it. But then we'd have jungle and drum and bass on after, and I think we kind of carried that sound into our DJ sets afterwards, and so it's kind of a sound that we wanted to associate with the brand. So yeah, I wouldn't say it was too much to do with what other people were doing or what they were making or that kind of thing. I think it was just a kind of nice, happy coincidence that we were able to find people that were doing the sound that we liked already.
Yeah, of course. Nice, man. So in terms of the events that you threw back in, what years were you throwing events?
2014 to 2016, and a couple of ones here and there. Like we've done one with Block to Block,
and we did one with Hit and Run and Sofa Sound last year. But we've done like a lot of peppered in events, probably 2 or 3 a year since then. But we've not really been like scheduling mad parties all year kind of thing. It's way too much to juggle now, but
have you got any of the events that you threw in that kind of period that like really stand out as ones that either you really enjoyed or that like were really successful or whatever?
I mean,
we did We hide out a warehouse in Manchester. We got the full Lion Pulse sound system. Like all, how many scoop? It
was
eight scoops.
Eight, I think. You could hear it from about 3 miles away. It was really ridiculous.
It was.
That's got to be.
Potential Bad Boy.
Yeah, we had Potential Bad Boy, Spider,
K-Jar, Dawn Raid,
Comper and Kaiju back to back.
Yeah.
Bic.
Danny T and Tradesman on a jungle set.
And DJ Cautious, I think, as well. So yeah, it was a silly.
It's a mad one, man.
Yeah. There was a night on at Antwerp, and there were people turning up saying they'd been told that it was going off, and they'd left Antwerp.
Come to our one instead.
Oh, that's sick, man. That's sick. So that was in Manchester, did you say?
Yeah.
So is that where you guys are? Is that where you guys are from?
It's where I'm from. You're from North Wales.
I'm from Wales, but it's Manchester's definitely where I got made. I didn't know anything about. I listened to dubstep before I came here, but yeah, I didn't know anything about sound system culture, and anything like that. And I came here, I met Joe. I met everyone, and it absolutely blew my mind.
Let him down the wrong path.
Yeah, just like a small. I'm from like a small town in North Wales. Came to the city. I was like, "What the fuck is this? What have I been doing?"
So should we touch on your personal influences when it comes to music? Are there any like producers or DJs that you think have influenced your personal mixing style or your production styles?
I'd say Dawn Raid in the early days when they were a huge influence.
It teaches a lot, yeah.
Yeah, like they had a kind of a really dark sound, like a mix of old really grotty subby jungle. And so, like a lot of newer stuff as well that they throw in there. On their, I don't know if you've heard of their label, Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
And then they had Bic. Bic was the front man. He was an absolute lunatic. He turns up in his Vivienne Westwood money suit, head to toe.
It's wicked, yeah.
But yeah, they taught us a lot early on.
We had them as residents for our event for a couple of years, so they would often. People sometimes only remember their set from the night and forget who we booked as a headliner.
Yeah,
they consistently smash it out of the park. So yeah, they were a good influence. But yeah, I think I've been asked this question before and really struggled to pull names out because there's just like so many people that we kind of either knew when we were going out or saw when we were going out or booked or were lucky enough to meet or that kind of thing that
of course
it all kind of added to the full picture.
Of course.
Label wise, I've got to say, Aries and DJ Hybrid were a massive help early on. I
think we probably would have been pretty lost without their advice.
Wouldn't have had a clue. They really helped early on. That was great. So big up.
Sick.
Thanks for that.
So you seem to have made some really important personal connections over the years. Do you think that is like a really important part of like the progression of like a record label and things like that?
It's definitely who you know. I think.
Yeah, I mean
some aspects.
Yeah, it definitely helps. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's not to say that you couldn't succeed without those connections, but it definitely gives you a big boost along the way. Just to be on kind of talking terms with people that can maybe point you in the right direction, or if you're in a situation that you're unfamiliar with, but they were in 2 years ago when they were starting out, kind of thing. Then it's definitely helpful.
People that you can send tunes to who are actually going to play them at like gigs and online as well. I think that's really matters when it comes to promo for the label.
I mean, luckily networking is a lot easier these days with instant messaging and things like that. It's not hard to get in touch with the people you want to get in touch with. But it's definitely an advantage.
That's really cool. So let's just touch on the whole COVID situation, just very briefly. We'll try not to keep this we'll try not to keep you on this for too long, because obviously I think most people are pretty bored of it. But I think I think one thing that I don't think many people have really spoken about is how it like affected their work process in terms of like either having more time to make music, but obviously with that more time comes like more boredom and then less motivation. How have you guys coped throughout all of that?
It's been for me personally, it's been pretty bleak for the most part. Like I've had more time than ever to concentrate on all the things I need to do, but for the vast majority of it, I found it really hard to knuckle down and do anything. Maybe it's not because I've lost passion for the music or interest in it. It's just some days you just don't feel like doing anything. Maybe it's because you don't have a prospect of like a realistic prospect of it coming back. Obviously now with the news that it might be back in June, that's kind of great for everyone and maybe giving us a boost. But yeah, I think for the most part, it's really difficult to kind of force yourself along sometimes. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, it's been hard. First 6 months of lockdown, like apart from, I mean, with a label, kind of just on like automatic at the minute. So like there's a release a month pretty much. And yeah, I don't really have to think about that anymore. It's just, I'm doing it constantly. I'm always on my phone. I'm always sorting out. So that carried on as normal. And sales wise, I think all labels have been doing pretty well, better than pre-COVID. I think for music. But so yeah, that's kind of spurred me on. But everything else apart from that, first 6 months of lockdown, I didn't do anything.
That's it.
Yeah, now I've actually managed to put some time into producing the past like 4 months, which is good.
Like 4 days on, 1 month off.
Yeah,
with the motivation.
Yeah.
I think that is the key bit, isn't it? Is the motivation and the inconsistency of that motivation. But like as you mentioned, we have got that glimmer of hope, which is hard to take too seriously. But I think we kind of have to just cling on to whatever hope they give us at this point, I guess. Is there anything that you guys have, like, obviously you might not be able to talk about things in detail, but have you guys got plans like for when things are eventually allowed to come back? Are you going to jump back onto events and things like that?
Yeah, I booked in 6 dates yesterday for events for the rest of the year, so hopefully that gives me something to work towards. I think I'm going to be busy, but yeah, definitely got big plans, and hopefully we'll be playing a lot more towards the end of the year.
Yeah, we're residents for worried about Henry, so we're guessing. Oh, fucking hopefully that comes back. We'll be getting the shout, and they were going to be putting on nights and pretty much every weekend, I guess. So, and we play for them in Manchester and Liverpool. So we'll be busy, hopefully.
Yeah. Something to do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, honestly, can't wait.
Out of the house.
Yeah, that's it. Innit? Get some sunshine, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, with the releases that you guys have already got, are there any that you are particularly proud of? Whether that's like the compilations or the EPs, not necessarily ones that did really well, just one that you think as a one piece of art is just stand out above the rest.
So the album, probably Conrad Subs.
Yeah, Conrad Subs album.
I'd say that's the most complete release that we've put out. Obviously, all the EPs in their own right are all great, and we're all proud of all of them. And
yeah, of course,
compilations. But the Conrad Subs album was kind of like probably the only thing that we've put out where you could sit and listen to it at home, start to finish, and it wasn't just meant for kind of DJ and dance floor consumption. It was a proper roller coaster in terms of the heights and moods that you took it to, and I think the feedback kind of reflects that. I think High Contrast said it was his favorite album that's been released this year or something. So
that's some
high praise. Yeah,
I was going to say that's some high acclaim, isn't it? And so, just quickly before we move on to the section where we ask you if there's anything else that you want to mention, live streams. Are they? Have you guys got involved in that many? And is it something that you've considered? Have you done your own? Sorry, I've.
Yeah, I think we've done a couple. I did a few earlier on.
Yeah.
When lockdown started, just everyone was doing it. Absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
I was just playing reggae because the sun was out, and I thought people could use a soundtrack.
Yeah. Sounds good.
We did Hit and Run TV a couple of weeks back in Manchester. We did a Nuusic takeover. I think we had Slater and Warhead down, and T-Man was on it as well. So that was really good. I've never seen a production standard so high. It was 8 technicians in the background all making it go.
It's with Neuron, wasn't it?
Yeah, Neuron Pro Audio in Manchester. But yeah, then we're recording something today, aren't we? For
Lively Up this weekend. The Lively Up lockdown special, yeah.
Nice.
With loads of really good artists on it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we're on at 12 a.m.
Plug.
I will say this is very likely to come out after the weekend.
But they can go back and watch
it. But to everybody watching, make sure you go back and check it. We'll include links. Don't worry. And so, what do you think is the future for live streams once everything's back to normal? Do you think they're going to carry on, and do you think that maybe not to the extent that they are, but
I think there's always been a place for live streams in drum and bass. Really, you just got to look at like block to block, cool, like even just people live streaming from pirate studios. Like
they've been quite instrumental in blowing up a lot of artists as well. A lot of people that we know in Manchester that have come up through there. I know Boo obviously had his productions, but he was on Block to Block and Kaz and Indica and everyone that came through there. So yeah, they definitely have a place. I think it's definitely becoming a lot more difficult to do live streams now because of the copyright stuff and everything. But yeah, I think it'll probably survive in some degree.
Awesome. So just quickly before I do ask you that, top 5 artists to look out for over the next year that you guys are hoping to get onto the label, should we say?
We fishing here.
We've got
okay.
Got some in the lockdown.
Top 5 artists to look out for. Well, I've got to say Elm and Jack, the 2 lads that we've just signed to the label. J Select, yeah. Elm, Jack, J Select, all 3 of them, like ridiculously talented and very young. So
there's a lot to come.
Yeah, loads, absolutely loads.
We should have had a list out of
recently. You know what? I have seen.
Like to put people on the spot.
Akala Dre, if I'm saying that right.
Okay.
I've seen some of his productions recently. Very on Pull Up, I think it is. I've been really.
Can't say Conrad, Subs, and Teach because they're already.
They are established, but I can guarantee Conrad, Subs, and Tees
they've got much more to give, and every tune that they send,
absolutely. I'll take it. I'll take it, lads.
Thank God for that.
Awesome. So, is there anything else that you guys really want to say before we go through links?
Yeah, just buy the music. We've got a lot scheduled. Yeah, we've got loads coming out. We've got an Epicenter and Speaker Louis
EP coming out.
EP, yeah.
We've got features that we probably can't talk about yet.
A new single series coming out.
That's all we can say about it because we don't have a name yet.
Yeah. We've got the tunes.
That's going to be fire.
Can't think
of some of the tunes for it. We've got more from Conrad Subs coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vocalists. We're getting a lot of vocalists involved.
Vocal features are coming this year.
Awesome.
Some big ones.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just stuff.
Got a lot. Got a lot to look forward to. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, where can we find all of this stuff?
It's
all on Juno.
On Juno, yeah. But we've also, if you want to get more money to us, Bandcamp.
Bandcamp would be ideal for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beatport, iTunes, every major.
Spotify,
yeah. It's everywhere.
Ideal. We will include all links in and around the video. And so you won't miss out on absolutely anything that Nuusic put out if you choose to click on those links, which I really think you should. So thank you very much, boys, for joining us today and taking a bit of time out of your day to have a little chat with us.
Cheers. Nice one for having us.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Anytime. We'll have to get you back on in the future when events are up and running again. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I've been BassPush. These guys have been Nuusic. This has been BassPush Interviews in conjunction with the Wub Mag, an online magazine based in Bristol covering everything underground. You can find those at www.thewubmag.com or on Instagram at the Wub Mag or on Facebook and SoundCloud at the Wub. Thank you very much and see you next time.
Nice one.
Cheers. Thank you.